Well, there are several famous coaching trees throughout the country. You probably have heard of a few of them. Most well-known are Bill Walsh, Bill Parcells, Dean Smith, and Bob Knight. They've all mentored assistants and athletes that have gone on to call themselves and call the plays themselves. As Kevin Devaney Jr. explains in Westchester, one man, despite not having coached in the county since the mid-'80s, is now indirectly responsible for the success of several local coaches.
There are 6 teams in League 2D in Section 1. They're all neighboring schools with one unique link: coaches with Eastchester roots. Alex Bonsi at Edgemont is a 1973 Eastchester grad. John Rappaport at Solomon Schechter, class of '82. Pelham's Mark Finnegan graduated in '83. And Eastchester coach Fred DiCarlo is class of '85.
You look across to your opposing team and it's somebody you know. It's somebody of, Coach Bonsi here at Edgemont. I was his JV coach. So there's a lot of roots in the league. So it's probably a once in a lifetime thing.
It's a nice thing to come to the gym and before a game to sit down and be able to talk with a guy about other things besides basketball.
There's a lot of competition. We still want to win, but it's you're going against someone who's going to do the right thing as a coach and have the kids prepared, and you got to be ready.
Try and put back into the game what you got out of it. And I've always tried to do that. I've tried to give back everything that, because sports have meant so much to me. Playing sports in high school meant a lot to me, and I've always tried to give that back as well.
So how does a school with a modest basketball history produce so many basketball minds? A mentor deserves the credit.
No matter who's coached them, I think the main influence of all of our coaching has come from Ron Rothstein. I learned everything I know about the game of basketball. I owe that to Ron Rothstein.
Former coach Ron Rothstein is the most prominent Eastchester basketball product. He went from coaching Finnegan and Rappaport as Eagles in the 1980s to Isaiah and Rodman as Pistons in the 90s, and now a couple of guys known as D. Wade and LeBron.
His knowledge of basketball is so vast. When I'm having difficulty with something, I'll go back and try and think about what he would use or what he would do, and he's been great. Even though it's been a lot of years since we've seen each other, he's been a great influence.
Eastchester basketball had a lot of crowds and just a lot of interest, so we all caught that, and I got into coaching partly through him.
That's what you do when you're a teacher. That's your job. Part of your job is to help kids grow and try and reach their dreams, whatever it might be.
Rothstein began as a scout for the Hawks and Knicks while still coaching at Eastchester in the 80s. Since then, he's been an assistant at 5 NBA cities and was actually the first head coach of Miami in 1988.
It can happen from anywhere, really. And it is a nice feeling inside to know that I had some influence in what they've become.
The gym where all these coaches once played has undergone a slight renovation. The basket's still here, as is the old floor. The classrooms now surround the court where all these guys learn the game.
As a classic, the old gym was great, just like the old Pelham gym was great. But as a basketball and a volleyball coach, new gym's the way to go.
I kind of don't like the big gym as much as I like that little gym upstairs with the crowds on top of the floor, and on a Friday night, the place was really rolling.
Reporting from Eastchester, New York for MSG Varsity, I'm Kevin Devaney Jr.
Thanks, Kev. Certainly a great story, and as Kevin mentioned, this is some of the coaches that credit Ron Rothstein for their success. Rothstein coached at Eastchester in the 70s and the 80s, a couple of different stints. Later, as Kevin mentioned, went on to coach the Miami Heat and also the Detroit Pistons. He's also worked with the Knicks and Detroit Pistons and the Atlanta Hawks. And while in Eastchester in 1979, Rothstein was tabbed the Westchester High School Basketball Coach of the Year.